I can't say that my morning was good. Instead, I woke up absolutely broken. So I wake up every morning. The room was filled with a bright sunlight. Outside the window, birds were lightheartedly chirping. I've never heard birds chirp angrily. I reluctantly dragged myself into a sitting position and stretched. I slowly started to recall the events of the previous day. A trip, a silly ghost game, Uliana falling asleep, and a kiss. I blushed immediately. It was so surprising that I'd been knocked out of reality for a while. The main problem is, how should I treat her now? At first glance, nothing special had happened, but besides, she's the last girl in the whole camp from which one would expect such actions. She seemed to me, at best, to be a little sister, nothing more. But for her, apparently, I was more than a big brother. Well, perhaps I just imagined all that. There was no hidden meaning, deep motives, or allusions to far-reaching conclusions in this kiss. Just an expression of gratitude. Uliana's definitely capable of extraordinary deeds, and could easily turn simple things into complicated ones. Finally, I decided to put off the matter till the time I could meet her face to face. The clock showed 11, meaning Olga Dmitrievna didn't wake me up for breakfast. However, I shouldn't worry. There wasn't much time left till lunch. I took my bag of washing accessories and went to do my water procedures. Hey guys, it's Squall, and this is part 38. I think. Possibly 39. No, it's definitely 38 of Everlasting Summer. I didn't meet anybody on the way. Probably all the pioneers are busy with their own things. The place near the basins was deserted too. Just 5 minutes later, I again stood in front of the camp leader's cabin, thinking of what to do next. Nothing worthwhile having come to my head, I sat in the deck chair and possibly could have stayed there until lunch, but I was drawn from my trance by a familiar voice. Hi. Blast, now I gotta remember all the voices I did for the characters. Because that was definitely not a girly hi. I looked up and saw Slavia, who was smiling at me sweetly. Hi. You overslept again? No, I don't think that was it. What voice did I give you? I'm gonna have to look back at my own videos. I tried to make her Miss Perfect, so it was like, you overslept again? Seems like it. It's no good. Perhaps. And where are you going? Actually, I was not really interested in Slavia's agenda for today, but I wanted to keep the conversation going. Well, I've got some things to do. I see. Silence followed. She was about to leave when suddenly I said, mind sitting with me for a while? Sure, why not? Slavia sat nearby. Something's worrying you, isn't it? No, why do you think so? I can read it on your face. She laughed softly. Not really. Although probably Slavia was right. Something really was worrying me. Obviously, I worried about last night's events. Listen, do you have any little brothers or sisters? I do. And how do you get along? Pretty well. She smiled widely. And you? No, I don't, I said after a short pause. So why are you asking? I don't know. Just... do you always understand them? I try to. Sometimes I just cannot make out what children want. Suddenly I stopped for a moment. Slavia doesn't know that I am actually much older than I look. To her, I am still a child myself. Those who are younger. Why? Well, I cannot always understand the motivations of their actions. They often behave illogically. Weren't you as old as them some time ago? She looked at me with surprise. Of course I was. At that moment it seemed to me that it had been a very long time ago. And when I looked at Uliana, that time turned into a gulf of years. Well, think of yourself at that time. I was different. At least it seemed like that to me. So, good for you. Slavia laughed again. And you? Did you also do stupid things? Depends on what age we are talking about. Well, let's say the age of 14, for instance. Well, different things were happening, she said thoughtfully. Okay, that's nice, but it still doesn't make anything clear. Maybe that's the way it should be? Maybe. Slavia stood up, wished me goodbye and left. I closed my eyes and fell asleep. I'm gonna go back and look at the videos and realize that I hella butchered her voice. Like, I realize there's only so much I can do. The majority of the characters are female, and I'm a guy. But I did try to give them different deflection. That is so not the word, is it? I don't know. I try to make them sound different. And I'm gonna look back. And I'm gonna realize I just totally messed that up. Well, that is one thing I did not miss. The more things change. The sound of the bell calling the pioneers for lunch woke me up. Although the sound was quiet and was coming from far away, my body worked like a clockwork automation. Wait, automaton? And in due time, I was standing near the door of the canteen. That's where I met Uliana. Hi there. Huh? Yeah. I already ate. She laughed brightly and ran away. I didn't stop her. After all, I had nothing to say to her. I took a meal and was already heading to my favorite place in the corner when suddenly someone grabbed me by the hand. Sit down, right here. Elisa's voice sounded menacing, but at the same time somehow pleading. What happened? I've got something to discuss with you, she said with a slightly softer tone. Okay. I sat down next to her. So what's the subject? You were there yesterday when she played that dumb prank with a bedsheet. It was pointless to lie to Elisa. Yeah, I was there. That's... She laughed out loud. Why on earth did you do that? Elisa instantly became serious and gave me a level look. Why don't you ask her? No, I'm asking you now, so you have to talk. I don't know. I rasped. Or you better tell me, why didn't the camp leader react? How should she react? I think you know. I looked at her skeptically. Well, she just did not realize who it was. Well, I must admit, Olga Dmitrievna's deductive abilities leave much to be desired. And then, it was you who brought her back last night. Nope, Shakespearean elves did that, I said mockingly. What's the problem with that? No problem at all. Elisa stared at her plate and started to eat with concentration. Also, she ran off somewhere during the night and came back in that happy mood. And? Don't you know anything about that? Even if I do, why do you care? She gave me an intense gaze. Well, I do care. I would have never thought that she could be concerned about someone besides herself. Nothing like that happened, if you'd like to know. Nah, it's not about that. Elisa replied shortly without looking at me. Probably it was a bad idea to bring up this subject. By the way, what's that like that? What do you mean? What you just said. What's that I just said? I tried to joke around to confuse her. Hey, listen to me. I'm watching you. Oh, I'm so scared. I said roughly, took my tray, and left the table. I definitely wasn't afraid of Elisa's words, even though they sounded like a threat. In fact, I was more interested by her concern for Uliana. Of all the local inhabitants, she was surely the last one you would expect to worry about another person. I walked out of the canteen and into a real furnace. The sun blazed so ruthlessly that nobody could stay under his scorching rays. It was time to find some cool and shady place. And the beach seemed like the best place for this. Oddly enough, the beach was not crowded. Perhaps most of the pioneers were scared of the scorching heat. Maybe they just decided to take a nap after lunch. I didn't bring my swimming trunks, so I just sat under an umbrella and began to watch the swimmers. There was no one I knew, and it was better that way, as I had an opportunity to sit quietly and think. 5.5 days have already passed since my arrival, and what has changed? There were a couple of unexplained but completely harmless events, but all in all, it's just a regular pioneer camp. And this was making me even more frightened. What's going to happen next? Another day, another week, and what's going to happen after the session's over? I've got nowhere to return to. Maybe in this time I hadn't been born yet. Or even worse. After thinking all this over for a few minutes, I went back to yesterday evening. Strange, but I worried about it much more than before. On the one hand, I wanted to say something to make the situation clear, but on the other hand, I avoided any meeting with Uliana by all means, afraid of making a fool of myself with a wrong word or gesture. I closed my eyes and dozed off for a while. I have missed you. When I woke up, I saw Lena by my side. How long have you been sitting here? I asked in surprise. Not too long. Strange that she did not wake me up. Did something happen? I don't know why, but my sixth sense was telling me that she's eager to say something but doesn't dare. No? What about you? Neither. Are you sure? Of course. I smiled. Then what do you want to talk about? Why would you think I want to talk? Seems like it. Nah, not really. A long silence ensued. Do you have any little brothers or sisters? No? What about you? I don't. So why would you ask that? Sometimes I think that I don't understand children at all. Me too. Lena's face didn't express anything. But it's probably got to be like that. What do you mean? How should I treat them then? Treat them the way you think is right. Well, that's the whole idea. I don't know what is right and what is wrong. The more you think about it, the more you'll regret the mistake. Well, that's true, but it doesn't help. I was somewhat surprised by such profound words from Lena. Of course, she said all that with a trace of shyness or modesty and without inappropriate openness, but still. You mean that I should follow the first idea I get off the top of my head? I laughed. As the saying goes, your first thought is the right one. Do you believe that? I don't know. We sat there for some time, then she stood up. Oh, I've got to go. Well, thanks for the conversation. Don't mention it. Lena smiled faintly. I lay down and stared at the burning sun. Your first thought is right, huh? And what if my first thought was to kiss her back? Probably not the right thought then. By the way, what was the first thought that came to me at that time? I tried painfully hard to remember, but nothing worked. Not even scraps of thoughts surfaced in my brain. However, in that situation I could only follow Lena's advice, since it all happened so suddenly. The sun was setting slowly, so I rose and went towards the canteen, as my stomach told me that even the participants in such a fantastic story should have regular meals. Wait, how long were you on the beach? Didn't you just have lunch? Somebody called to me at the square. It was electronic. He ran up to me, caught his breath and said, "Semyon." Yeah, that's probably me. Take it. He handed me some kind of key. Oh, what's this? It's the key to our clubhouse. And why would I want it? Olga Dmitrievna asked me to, considering that I will not be returning there today. So give it to Shirk. He has his own business. So take it yourself. I can't. Why not? Listen, just take it. Why would I need it? What am I going to do with it? You'll give it back to me later. Listen, well, I have to go. He shoved the key into my hand and ran. No matter how you look at it, he is definitely strange. However, I didn't pay significant attention to this event and just put the key in my pocket. I got to the canteen even before dinner. Fortunately, it was already open, but no food was being served. I took my favorite seat in the farthest corner and concentrated on playing with a toothpick. Soon I got the feeling that someone was standing next to me. I raised my eyes and spotted Olga Dmitrievna. We just stared at each other for some time. Do you need something? Finally, I broke the silence. You know, Semyon, sure, I understand everything, but... What? I asked, surprised. Did you think I didn't notice your absence last night? Absence is quite an overstatement. I'd rather say I just went out for a moment. Well, so what? What's the matter? I thought it was nothing too, but I was determined to check. The camp leader's expression was increasingly heading towards a frown. So, have you checked? I still couldn't understand what she was up to. Yes, I checked. And you know what? For a true pioneer, it's just unacceptable. It's shameful. It's disgraceful, especially with her. She flushed red with exertion. I don't even want to hear your pitiful excuses. A vague idea of what she was talking about dawned on me. Yes, so, what happened? Would you care to explain? And now, you've got the nerve to play innocent. You, with Uliana. Now it all became crystal clear. I've got 2 things to tell you. First, I started getting steamed up. Nothing of that sort happened there, and I'm the last one who has any relation to this situation. And you think that? Second, I rudely interrupted her. Who told you that? In fact, the answer was obvious. Uliana would not do that, and if she had decided to once again play a trick on me, she would have done it much earlier. From the time spent here, I'd begun to understand her well. And that leaves only one possible candidate. Is it Elisa? Why does it matter? No, it does. Would you care to explain your behavior then? Olga Dmitrievna seemed to be a little taken aback by my vehemence. There's nothing to explain. I quickly got up and headed to the exit of the canteen. Semyon, wait. I heard the camp leader's weak prattle behind me. If you act decisively with her, then she is not that confident. So now I have to get things straight with Vachevskaya. With Elisa, basically. Well, her pranks hadn't concerned me, or only concerned me indirectly. I could bear it. Just thinking about it, I'd even started to consider her not such a bad person. I met Slavia at the square. Do you know where Elisa is? Yes, I do. What's the matter? Just tell me. My words sounded obviously rough, but it seems that she didn't pay it any attention. She's at the music club. Slavia was right, and I met Elisa near the music club. However, she was accompanied by Miku. Mind explaining yourself? I didn't waste time on pleasantries. No? What makes you think so? Elisa gave me a cute smile. Oh, Semyon, hi. How nice that you're here too. Maybe then 3 of us can play something? I have a new song and, it's so funny. I'm sure you like it, I promise. Or we can choose something old. Miku interrupted the conversation. Could you? What? She looked at me with the smile of an uncomprehending child. From that moment I understood what exactly she had in her mind. Little rabbits, teddy bears, pussycats, but no sign of intelligence. cats? I need to talk to Elisa, I said in a tone that broke a no disagreement. Okay, maybe later. It looked like she was upset, though I didn't care. So, I don't understand what you mean, Elisa said, offended. And anyway, I have to go. She turned around and got ready to leave. Grab her arm roughly, try to stop her verbally, yeah. No. You ain't going nowhere, homegirl. I rudely grabbed Elisa's wrist. What are you doing? The girl was really frightened. Who told the camp leader that Uliana came to me at night? I don't know. She pleaded piteously. We discussed it this morning, didn't we? She said nothing, but continued to look at me with fear in her eyes. And most importantly, what's the purpose of telling 1,000 lies? Really? Don't know what you're talking about. Her eyes filled with tears. Suddenly I felt as if I had been struck by lightning. What if she isn't guilty? And why did I immediately think of her? Anyone else could have easily seen us at night. You never know. Even Uliana herself could tell anyone. Are you sure? I asked harshly. Yes. I thought for a second and this time was just enough for Elisa to escape. Now the only true solution is to talk to Olga Dmitrievna again. I found her on the canteen porch. By that time, the sun had nearly disappeared behind the horizon. You came back after all, she began. Olga Dmitrievna, could you tell me honestly who told you about it? I've just spoken to Elisa. It's not her. Liana wouldn't do it herself, so who? In fact, I myself didn't realize why I needed to know this. Initially, I was just mad at Elisa, but now? Well, she hesitated. Some strange girl. But this still doesn't... A strange girl? Well, yes. Not from our camp, it seemed. Why did she tell you about this? How should I know? Olga Dmitrievna, but this is... I took a deep breath and turned away. Just why does she have to obviously lie? Although maybe she's trying to protect somebody? Let's say... Damn, I cannot even imagine. Alright, I said quietly and walked briskly away from the canteen. I had absolutely no desire to continue listening to Olga Dmitrievna's stupid lies. Our so-called camp leader. I walked aimlessly, completely lost in thought. Are you on guard duty? I heard a cheerful voice from behind. It was Uliana. Nothing special. Just... Seems like there was no chance of finding out who Olga Dmitrievna's informer was, and yesterday's incident was hushed up somehow, so I decided not to think about it. What do you have planned for this evening? Nothing, I guess. After all my frantic attempts to uncover the truth, I felt some inexplicable guilt before Elisa and Uliana. What exactly the guilt before Uliana was about was completely unclear though. And I have a suggestion. What is it? Brought a video cassette from home. Her eyes flashed conspiratorially. And I couldn't even remember when the last time I had watched or heard something recorded on cassette was. But a cool movie on it. Where would we get a VCR here? Oh, there's one in the clubhouse, isn't there? This word came to me from the past and I decided to test whether my guesses about which time period I had been placed in were right. At the Cybernetics Club, of course. There's nothing there, I said confidently. What about in the back room? She was right. It could be there. Well, maybe. But anyway, it's too late and everything is closed. That strange feeling of guilt I felt in front of Uliana wasn't giving me a chance to refuse immediately. We can get in there through the window. She grinned mischievously. Well, you know, maybe you're right. Wish we could get a key, mused Uliana. But I had one in my pocket, and I just remembered about it. Now that you mention it, yes, I've got a key. Next time I'd better think before I speak. It's good, and I'll quickly run to get the tape. You wait here and I'll be right back. She disappeared before I could even open my mouth. On the contrary, homeboy, you opened your mouth way too much. It's strange that she wasn't surprised that the key to the Cybernetics Club mysteriously happened to be in my pocket at the right place and time. But in any case, I have to decide what to do next. The most right and logical thing would be not to go anywhere with her. But my guilt got to me. Though it seems to me that there could be nothing criminal in watching a movie with her. But on the other hand, with Uliana, even the most harmless things can turn into a thrilling. Wow, I was really going for it there. I was really going for it there. That was gonna be such a cool sentence. It was gonna sound cool. It was just gonna be cool. And of course I had to mess it up. Blasted cakes. It's something I made up, don't question it. But on the other hand, with Uliana, even the most harmless things can turn into a three-ring circus. Yeah, I was gonna be better the first time around. Damn it. At the very least. I was already starting to forget about what had happened this evening, about my frantic attempts to get the truth from Melissa and Olga Dmitrievna. In just a couple of minutes, she returned. Having second thoughts? I looked at Uliana and felt a bit uncomfortable. We going? Listen, you know, your ideas are, let's say, not entirely safe. And in the end, everything will end badly again. Are you scared? No, I'm not. I'm just a grown man and I'm not interested in such games. Grown man? She laughed. Indeed, I forgot that I look 17 at most. What makes you think so? It's really hard to accept, but I had nothing to say to that. Thinking about it, the whole time I spent here I did not display any particular forethought, nor life experience, nor cold, balanced assessment of the situation. Yeah, you act like an idiot most of the time. Though the other question is, did I ever show those in that life? And in fact, even if I think, I would recall some examples, of course, but okay, well, let's go. I was so offended by Uliana's words that I asked, "And what is a grown man in your opinion?" "One who is responsible for his actions. One who does nothing. One who does not do anything without thinking about the consequences. A person who is capable of taking good care not only of himself, but also of others." "And all that doesn't describe you, that's for sure." I tried to laugh it off. "I'm not pretending to be like that anyway," grinned Uliana. Yes, she was absolutely right. I do not possess any of those qualities. But I always thought that not being 17 is all that's required. It seems that in general, there's no difference between me and other people, and if I wish I could be exactly like they are. Is that all wrong? In fact, no, because in this camp I tried to behave in the most logical, sensible, and proper way, like an adult. But even if Uliana says differently, then how can I get out of here? We went in. It took some time for Uliana to find the light switch. Presto. Well done. Bravo. I exaggeratedly clapped my hands. "Hey, stop making fun of me," she pouted. "Okay, what's next?" "Here." Uliana went up to the door to the second room, hesitated for a moment, and pushed it open. There wasn't much space inside. Seems more like this room was used for storage. Boxes piled on top of each other had formed some sort of Alps in miniature. Various devices scattered here and there reminded me of the chaotic brainstorm raging in the head of a scientist. Bookshelves on the far wall made it clear that this was not a simple storage for unused junk. To my right, there was a TV set with a video player sitting next to it. Interestingly, they were not Soviet. I bet they were Japanese. At least going by their appearance. Not very surprising. In those days, or more accurately for me these days, imports already existed. What did I tell you? Uliana smiled triumphantly. Yeah. Have you seen anything like that before? I have. Perhaps I've got a VCR too. Probably it's lying somewhere on the mezzanine in my house. Seems like you're not surprised at all. Why should I be surprised? Japanese TV set? A video player? You look like you often see such things. Not too often lately, I agreed lazily. You're so gloomy. Nevertheless, okay, take it. She handed me a cassette. I turned it over in my hands but did not find any sticker or labels on it. So what's on it? I don't know exactly, mused Uliana. But I'm sure it's something very interesting. Soon the logo of a well-known American film company appeared on the screen. Here, watch! Uliana even started fidgeting impatiently. I'm watching. I wonder what movie this is. A few minutes later, I realized that the tape contained a famous film from the 80s. It was about a robot from the future, sent to kill someone in the past, so in the years in between a hero wouldn't be born. Interesting coincidence. Yup, Everlasting Summer is about a cyborg that goes back in time to kill off Olga Dimitrievna. You could say I was sent from the future too. So what? My mission is to kill someone from among the local residents? I could not help laughing. It's so funny. Uliana looked at me reproachfully. Oh no, nothing. Seems as if you don't like the movie. The movie's alright. I've seen it several times. How can that be? Her eyes widened in surprise. Well, my friend gave me a cassette. Uliana stared intently at me. Anyway, I keep watching. And before she's a Skynet operative, I pointed at the screen. Well, she seems pleased with herself. When the film was about halfway through, I heard someone trying to open the front door. It is said that when a person has one of their senses weakened, the others are amplified. I was quite blind, but could hear perfectly. Lights off, I whispered. What? Turn off the lights. Uliana realized that this wasn't the time to argue with me and rushed to the switch. Meanwhile, I pressed the pause button. I heard footsteps in the other room and saw a flashlight flickering under the door.